Today, I had this beautiful realization that I wanted to share with folks about the medicine work that I'm doing, the medicine work that we're doing. One of the amazing blessings of not having land access or having limited land access, having a small yard and having a yard that's half apple trees and half pine trees, so that I can only grow a limited amount of stuff here. The blessing of having to wildcraft and harvest in other places and other spaces is bringing medicine and sharing medicine from a lot of the amazing humans that I know who are stewarding land, and bringing that medicine to other people. And as I reflect about the stories of the plants and the stories of the earth and the stories of the humans, all of these things coming together, it just feels really important to share the stories of the humans who are stewarding land where medicine is growing. The people who I'm connected to, it feels like we're all living in a bubble of permaculture, of activism, of land justice work, of racial justice work, of social justice work, of healing justice work. And sometimes I forget that this life and these humans who I'm connected to are actually really unique and really special. And not just because of who they are in my life, but because of the gifts of medicine that they bring to the world. And just to be able to share the stories of the humans who are bringing the medicine, who I'm stewarding the medicine through, feels important, because it's not just that I'm harvesting herbs that I'm growing or that grow in my woods that I'm tending. There's very little of that that's happening. For the most part, I'm harvesting herbs that are being tended by other people and that are growing in wild spaces that I'm co-tending, and that have been stewarded by these amazing humans doing land reparation work and land justice work and conservancy work, etc. So the nettles that we harvested this spring are grown in a small valley in Mount Sterling, Wisconsin, where the woman who is stewarding that land has been working for decades on land conservation and land stewardship in Crawford County, Wisconsin. And when we were harvesting nettles, she was spending time removing non-native species, that work that she's been doing for years. And while I have my own ideas about non-native invasive species, to witness her dedication to tending her land for days and days and days every spring, and to hear the story that she was saying that since she's been removing, she's been able to witness other species coming back. And she, is encouraging the nettles to grow there, and she's not discouraging the nettles to grow there. The nettles have a spot there, and this valley there are no spray signs on the sides of the road in this valley. She's been working to, convince her neighbors to not spray. And so the efforts that she's been giving to tending her land have rippled out in her valley and beyond her valley, in her county, in the work that she's doing on the county level, and knowing that county level work is also rippling out beyond her county. So that's just one example of one of the humans who's tending the land, and how the love and care that she has for how she's tending her land and cultivating wild spaces is really part of the story of the nettles that we harvest. And that medicine is coming through the nettles into your tea. The elderberries that I'm about to go harvest are tended by a person who lives in northeast Iowa, who lives in a valley there, where he's been doing very small scale permaculture, playing with growing fruit and nut trees, playing with various species who people would say that can't be grown there. He's got this hillside of fruits that he is always really excited to tell me about whenever I come to harvest berries. He is living very simply and is a member of his town board, or I'm not sure, maybe town board or county board, and he's doing the same, the land justice, the ecological reparation work, and the county level. And all of that medicine and care for the land is coming through the elderberries and going to whomever receives these berries. I harvest a lot of herbs at the Draw Permaculture Sanctuary, a place where they're providing sanctuary for all sorts of creatures, including animals, medicinals, non-native and invasive species that they value for their medicine, for their land reparation work. They're also growing, they're experimenting with all sorts of medicinal plants that people say, oh, those can't be grown here, those can't be grown here. Fruit and nut trees. There's children playing naked on, in the gardens and on the earth, and there's ritual and ceremony there. There's song. There's community building, and all sorts of beautiful things happening there. And all of that medicine is coming through the bone set and the marshmallow leaf and flower and the nettle seed, and so many plants that I harvest there, small amounts of plant, motherwort, mugwort. And the wild crafting that happens in various places. I don't know all of the stories of the people who are tending those, but I know that I harvest in places where there's some places where there's a lot of traffic of people who are using county trails, people who are appreciating the beauty of Lake Superior and the pine forest, the conifer forest, the fir forest. I just harvested fir tip at a friend who is fir sap at a friend who's working on really working on living with the earth, living the smallest footprint possible, doing food work, justice work, healing work, really from the bottom up, using whatever refuse materials people have thrown out, making things get stretched really far. That place also feels like a really sweet medicine is coming through. So I wanted to share these stories because it feels like it's so important to not only know the stories of the plants, but also to know the stories of the people, and to understand that the medicine that I'm sharing with people has a lot more medicine than just the medicine that the plants are bringing. And I know that people listen to and are tuned into the medicine that I bring to my work, and it also feels important to share the medicine that other people are bringing to this work and to these plants. It's really unique to be able to receive medicine that where you can actually hear and touch and see and smell the stories of the people and the earth where it's grown, because a lot of the medicine that comes through bigger companies, it's being mass produced, and there aren't these like stories of justice and land work and healing work interwoven into the stories of the plants and medicine. So thanks for listening, and I hope you appreciate the stories, and I'll be sharing more stories as the time season progresses.